Welcome today. Infotrace Analytics, we are here. We brought you analytics that we've done for the last one day, and we are going to look at the key issues. So my name is Alan Sindani, a data analyst at Infotrace Analytics.
And my name is Dennis Kuria, a data scientist at Infotrace Analytics.
Yeah, so today we are going to be looking at the trending topics, what has been trending since yesterday, and we have been able to analyze over 46,000 comments from across the social media platforms, which have been drawn from over 600 posts, and we are going to look at some of the key issues that have been trending, top on the agenda being the Jubilee Party civil wars. And we are also going to look at the rally we witnessed yesterday in Bungoma, Kabuchai, where we saw the KANU party leader, the ANC party leader, the Ford Kenya party leader, and the Wiper party leader making an entry into Kabuchai and drumming up support for the Ford Kenya party leader. So welcome to today's presentation. Stay with us.
Yeah, thank you, Alan, for the introduction. Now, going right into it, we are going to look at the Jubilee Civil Wars and how people actually feel about it, and the sentiments and how many people actually support whatever is going on at Jubilee. But just as a background, where did this all start, Alan?
Yeah, so we saw the Jubilees, the wars within the Jubilee Party. These began when we saw the handshake between the president and the prime minister. That was in March 2018. So I think some quarters of the Jubilee Party leaders felt they've been left out. They felt that the handshake was actually taking their portion, which they were entitled to.
Which portion is that? Because I believe that the entry of the former prime minister and with the handshake with the president maybe made some people uncomfortable due to 2022.
Because you see, the entry of Raila Odinga into the handshake, it was actually meant for the good of this country. But you see now ODM is coming in, and we've seen them even taking some of the key positions in parliament, like in parliamentary leadership, that were previously held by some of the Jubilee members. So that's where maybe the wrangle begins.
Very true. So we are going to get right into the numbers, and we have basically analyzed over, as Alan said, over 46,000 comments all over social media, and these were the sentiments. Around 24% of the people do not support the breaking up of the Jubilee Party.
Yeah, while 18% do support that Jubilee Party should actually break up, because it's like an abusive marriage. We are seeing every day the leaders within and even outside Jubilee are throwing words at each other. We are seeing the deputy president throwing words at his boss. We are seeing also the president asking the deputy to resign. So why would actually there be such a coalition when the leaders are not agreeing? So it's high time, I think I will support the 18%, that it's high time the Jubilee Party breaks up. It is a party that has not had a PG for over 4 years, which is actually raises concerns.
Yeah, and I think I will have to go with the 24%, the majority, because I believe that Jubilee should not be having these wrangles that we are seeing right now. And I think they should sit down and address the issues. They should stop harassing members from one side, that is the one which is not allied to the president, and basically have the PG so that people can align in terms of their goals.
But you see, Dennis, we have to also look into it. Why are we having the harassments you're talking about? Why are the MPs allied maybe to the deputy president being harassed? You see, there is the kind of harassment you're talking about, and there is this psychological harassment that these MPs are causing maybe to the president and other leaders, because a leader will stand on a podium and abuse the president and his family. The president will call the leaders to support his development agenda. The president has set up the Big Four, has come up with the BBI, which aims at actually bringing Kenya together. But the Tanga Tanga group are on a campaign trail every day, every night. So why would such a person not be harassed? Or rather, why should such a person not be asked to quit?
So I believe that it's actually very unfair to say that the Tanga Tanga are on the campaign trail, while the BBI is the same thing. It is seen from some quarters that BBI is actually campaigning for someone who the president wants to succeed him. So it would have been unfair to tell the deputy president or the Tanga Tanga part not to campaign, given that their competitors are on the ground campaigning for BBI in
but
in
you see,
extension
these are very different types of campaigns. The BBI is campaigning for a peaceful Kenya, that even as we go into 2022, we might have an election that is peaceful, that we don't witness violence after the 2022 election like we've been witnessing in previous elections. So that's a whole different thing with the kind of campaign we are seeing with Tanga Tanga. They are campaigning literally for 2022 to take over power. They don't care if we'll have violence or not. So I think it's high time Jubilee Party should just break, as the 18% are saying, and maybe there's no case in Jubilee.
So yeah, I think it's a case on where you look at it, on which angle that you look at it. But yeah, I believe Jubilee should come together personally. They should not be having what you are seeing. Jubilee was one of the biggest outfits in 2017, and we were hoping to see it in 2022. But unfortunately, I think Jubilee is on its deathbed.
Yeah, but you can see over 58% of Kenyans are neutral about it. They are not either for the breaking up of the Jubilee or for the Jubilee Party coming together. So maybe we leave it for another day. Let's look into some of the keywords. What are people saying generally? What are the most mentioned words across social media platforms as far as these Jubilee civil wars are concerned? So among some of the top positive words that have been mentioned, we are seeing UDA party being mentioned. So I'm even curious, why is UDA being mentioned positively?
Yeah, I believe that people are coming around and they are starting to appreciate what UDA means. And I think another term that is actually on the positive side is wheelbarrow, isn't it?
Yeah. So personally, I think UDA has just come at the right time for the Tanga Tanga supporters. These are people who have felt that they have been kind of neglected in the Jubilee Party.
Yeah.
So the coming of UDA actually is a relief to them. And that's why we are seeing UDA is being talked positively in the matter surrounding Jubilee civil wars. So it's like these should be the Tanga Tanga supporters. They are actually happy that UDA is there. They have a home. We saw Murkomen and Kiika the other day saying that we actually have found a home where we can be.
Stay comfortably.
Yeah.
So yeah, going forward, I think one of the key issues that we can look at is why is Ruto negative, in the negative sentiment?
We are seeing both Ruto and Raila being mentioned negatively, and in fact also the Jubilee Party is being mentioned negatively. So I think for Raila Odinga, some quarters within Jubilee Party are actually blaming him for the worst in the Jubilee Party, and that's why you can see is being mentioned negatively across social media platforms. That people are saying since Raila came in, we've seen the deputy president himself actually blaming Raila for causing confusion within the Jubilee Party. The deputy president is on track saying that Raila came in and confused the Big Four agenda. That's why we are seeing Raila on the negative, because they feel that he is behind the wars within Jubilee Party.
And just on that, do you really think that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga should be held responsible for derailing the Big Four agenda?
No, I don't think so, because to be very sincere, before the handshake, the country was kind of polarized. There was no conducive environment even for the economy to thrive. And the coming in of Raila Odinga and the mobilizing his opposition troops to support the government should have given the government an opportunity to be able to deliver their Big Four agenda. But it's very unfortunate that immediately after the Prime Minister came in, we saw other quarters of Jubilee going out, which is very unfortunate and was unprecedented.
I think you have brought out a very nice point there, that when the former Prime Minister came in with his troops, the government should even had more resources or more power to push the agenda. And why aren't they pushing it?
Yeah, and that I think accounts for the reason why Deputy President is being mentioned negatively in this conversation, because the Deputy President should have taken Raila's entry into government as something positive. He should have worked with the President to ensure that they actually deliver their promises. We've seen recently the Prime Minister blaming the Deputy for actually promising things that he cannot deliver. Ruto should have taken the opportunity and maximized on the handshake to make sure that they, as a government, deliver their promises. But instead, he chickened out and started opposing the same government he's in.
You see, I think I can be able to see where Ruto is coming from, because one, when Raila came, of course, he was not coming on the agenda that Jubilee had. He had his own agenda, and maybe we can now see that agenda as being the BBI, right? And I think Ruto is blaming Raila because he thinks that when Raila came, his agenda was taken as a higher priority than what Jubilee had set aside as the agenda. So, and that is the Big Four agenda. So,
but Dennis, do you think that Ruto would have done better if he stayed within government and pushed the Big Four agenda, other than now going out and opposing? You know, two wrongs do not make a right. He should have remained within the Jubilee Party and tried to push the Big Four agenda. As Raila is pushing the BBI on the other side, Ruto is pushing the Big Four on the other side, then at the end of the day, we would have achieved both. But you see now, Raila is pushing BBI, Ruto is out.
The major issue is that Ruto is still in government, but he was actually pushed out. Not himself pushed him. He did not push himself out. He was literally pushed out. His duties were given to, I think, another junior officer. That is a junior officer to him, and he had no roles in the government. And also, just looking at the numbers, there's no way the Tanga team or even the deputy himself would stop the agenda for the Big Four agenda, if that is the president was honest in pushing the agenda. So personally, I don't think that Ruto is the one holding back the Big Four agenda. Given his sentiments, he is actually not opposing BBI. He is just asking some critical questions of the BBI, and I think some of which were answered well. And I don't think there's even one case where he has come out categorically to say that he is even opposing the BBI. And even given the recent sentiments, he said that he would work with the president after all these stories of BBI referendum are through, that is in June.
Ruto's case is a case of somebody who actually preaches water and takes wine, or vice versa. So let's look at Jubilee as a keyword that has been mentioned negatively. So we might be curious to know, why is the Jubilee, which is the ruling party, being mentioned negatively? In my own opinion, I would think that, you see, Jubilee promised a lot of things to Kenyans as a party during the 2017 campaigns. We saw Jubilee promising the Big Four, which revolves around manufacturing, healthcare, universal healthcare, affordable housing, and these things now they all seem a pipe dream. Back in 2013, we saw Jubilee promising 1 million jobs every year. We saw Jubilee promising laptops. We saw Jubilee promising stadias, which are the Prime Minister has talked about severally, and all these things seem to be a mirage. So that, to me, accounts to why Jubilee is being mentioned negatively.
Yeah, I concur with that. Jubilee, we can comfortably say that Jubilee has not performed as we expected since maybe they came into government, that is back in 2013. And that may be the reason as to why people are bitter with Jubilee, because they know that they voted for this, they trusted in the government, and it's actually failing them down. It's just all dramas going around, harassing its own members. So I believe that's why Jubilee has actually been mentioned.
And the same reason why 18% of Kenyans are actually saying that Jubilee should just break. We should not have a Jubilee in 2022 because it is a failed thing. It has failed to deliver on its promises.
And maybe just on that, do you think a party will actually play any role in who succeeds the president?
That's very critical, and I think we should even talk about that in the next discussion where we are looking at. Yesterday, we saw Gideon Moi, who is the KANU party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, who is the ANC party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the Wiper party leader, and Moses Wetangula, Ford Kenya party leader. They all came together and they were in Kabuchai drumming up support for Majimbo Kalasinga, the Ford Kenya party candidate. So if we say that will parties play a role on who becomes president, then that also tells you why Ruto is forming UDA. Parties play a major role. For you to become president, you must have a party that one has a national outlook or is in coalition with other parties from all over.
Yeah.
And that's why we are seeing now leaders running around and forming
coming up with
coalitions.
Yeah.
We are seeing the four leaders who were in Bungoma yesterday. Today they will be in Kakamega. So what are they trying to achieve? Is because they know parties actually play a key role in who becomes the next president. And maybe that should take us to the question, will the four make a formidable force to maybe fight or give Ruto and Raila a sleepless night?
Yeah, actually that's a very critical thing because I didn't believe either of them individually would have been a significant force to either Raila or Ruto. But now having joined forces as the four of them, I believe it's now a three-horse race.
And the deep state?
I believe we do not have sufficient information as to think what the deep state will or will not do to influence the 2022 elections. But let's wait and see. That's one of the topics that we shall be discussing tomorrow to see how are people receiving the coalition of the four.
And maybe if the four have come together, maybe, I don't know, in your own opinion, who is the best candidate they can front to be able to maybe take on deputy president of either Jubilee or UDA, and Raila Odinga of ODM? Because we are seeing Mudavadi has said he will be a presidential candidate. Kalonzo has also affirmed the same. Who can be the flag bearer of the coalition so that they can take on the other two leaders?
Yeah, comment below and give us your opinion on the same. Who do you think can be the flag bearer of what we are calling the Kabuchai coalition?
Thank you. Until next time.